I'm gonna try to go off a cuff here. I have a little bit, it's supposed to be lunchtime, and I don't really have time to stop, but trying to find a nondescript spot. You can't see the logo on my shirt, so hey. Okay. So there's this thing where you can have what I have called your event horizon. And I've heard people talking about that recently, but they don't call it that. I just kind of made that term up. Anyway, what my event horizon is a term that I came up with, where it's like a dark night of the soul, but not quite the same thing. It's a before and after event, but it's more like you learn this thing and you realize after you learn that thing that the world is never going to be the same, and that you can never go back to before you knew that thing, and that no one is going to believe you if you told them about that thing. So it is your point of no return, where you have this nondescript thing, whether it's about politics or about religion, spirituality, people in general, whatever it is, history, and you learn this thing and you check it, and you double check it, and you triple check it because you don't believe it, because it is that horrifying. It's awful. And it turns out that it is not only true, but it probably goes deeper than you ever imagined. And then you keep going down that rabbit hole and down that rabbit hole and down that rabbit hole. And it fundamentally changes how you think, how you see the world around you, what you think about other people around you. And you understand, you can comprehend that, like I said, you cannot talk about this with anybody. There's probably no friends, no nothing that you can talk to about this. And fundamentally, you start to change your beliefs in every aspect of your life, probably, because of that event horizon. If whoever they is for you, are capable of doing this, then what are these people over here? Or what else are they capable of doing? Or, what else is possible? And when you start uncovering all of these things, first off, it makes you way more susceptible to believing conspiracy theories. I fundamentally understand why people go down these conspiracy holes, because if you have your event horizon and you start to see other things that are horrifying, and you fundamentally can just go, oh yeah, I could totally see that awful entity or person or whatever being able and capable of doing this thing over here that is now a conspiracy theory, then yeah, I mean, it makes it way easier to believe in conspiracy theories. And honestly, a lot of conspiracies end up being true. So yeah, and a lot of the things that we'll never be able to prove end up being true. So you end up in a place where you can fundamentally see like the storm or the danger that's headed your way, and everybody else is walking around like sports. And did you hear, this coworker is banging that coworker, gossip, sports, gossip, fun, my kids, blah, blah, blah. And you're sitting here like, holy fucking shit, can you not see the wave that's headed right towards us? And then, you start to try to warn people a little bit here and there, because you know that they aren't going to believe you, remember, but maybe they will listen to you about this minor little thing over here. Maybe you can get them to hear you on this one teeny tiny little thing. And not only do they not hear you, but they are looking at you like you have two heads, and like maybe you need to go get some mental help or something. And you're like, that's not even that bad. I was trying to just kind of get them in the notion to start thinking about this thing. And all of a sudden, you become the bad guy for even mentioning anything that is unpleasant at all. And it is heartbreaking, because we are now in a place where there's a lot of people with their head in the sand. And a lot of people, more and more people, have had their event horizon. Whether they were trying to or not, they had their event horizon, and there's a lot of people who aren't listening. And it is awful. And I'm not just talking, it doesn't matter, Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, whatever you call yourself. There is going to be an event horizon where the rest of the people in your group are not going to hear you and not going to listen to you. They're just not. They're not going to understand. And you completely get why, because you remember a point in time where you would have been spouting out the same things that they're saying and thinking that you were on the right side of history. Meanwhile, that entire time, you were just as much of a puppet as the other guy who is opposed to you, whoever that is. Now, of course, those were political terms. It could be like a religious sect or whatever. Doesn't matter, because it's all like this earth game. These people who have control, who have power, who have money, who have influence, and those who don't, and the ones who want it and are trying to get it. And I don't like the idea of it being a game. I don't agree with that. I don't like the idea that there are people trying to win and lose. I just want equity. I want diversity. I want altruism. That is what I want for everybody. I want a level playing field. And so when I had my Event Horizon and I started digging myself into these deep holes and started thinking there's no way out, I kept looking and did not stop looking for years for whatever it is that is the path to a better tomorrow for everyone. And the one thing I found is literally the hippiest thing ever. It's literally just love. Like, that is the answer. That is the answer. Love your neighbor, love each other, send out love to the world around you. That is the only thing. That is the only answer. That is the only thing that can crumble all the walls, that can end all the corruption, is if you give a fuck, is if you love people. And I'm not talking about like you have to love, like love is the emotion that you think of when you think of love. I mean love as an action word, love as caring, love as trying to build bridges, love as being the bridge. And that is the continual message that I will have again and again and again, always, is that you can do, and when you go back and you think about it, and I know I am so far in the weeds that most people who are analytical are not going to believe me, and that is, don't just do whatever you think is, you get to where you got to get to the amount of love that you can give. But for me, like, love became an actual tangible, like, energetic gift that I found that I could give. That is how I became the bridge. And there are different people who do different things, and I came from a position where I was completely analytical, love science, all kinds of things. If you can't prove it, it doesn't exist. And then I kept on learning, and I kept on learning, and I kept on learning beyond that. And let me just say that now I'm woo-woo as fuck. I'll put it that way. So I still have like my atheist sticker on the back of my car, and it does not apply anymore. And I did not get there by choice. And people say that, oh, you have free will. And I'm like, yeah, you do. Kind of. Because sometimes things chase you relentlessly. So anyway, but the point is, because without getting too far into the weird, I'm just going to say that what I had learned is that you need to be able to send love out to the world around you in whatever way you are capable of doing, whether it's volunteering, or if it's just growing food in your backyard and handing it to your neighbors, or whatever it is, just being a friendly face or someone that people can talk to. That is how you transmute love to the world. That is how you change the world. Keep doing that. Keep not letting people hoard fear over you. Do not let them make you afraid. That is how you end up closing yourself off and not sharing love. Don't do that. Literally, that is the most important thing, is don't be afraid. Just spread love and don't let the fear win. Okay, bye. I forgot to make a point at the end of that video. Point was, and I knew I was forgetting something. Point was that it used to be, until very, very recently, that if I wanted to go online and talk about all the crazy stuff, that no one would care. No one would care if I talked about my Event Horizon, which I'm not going to talk about. If I were to talk about that crazy fucking thing, no one would have batted an eye. The people who are in charge or whatever, they would not have even thought to take it down. That is until very recently. And I think the reason was, this is my opinion. My opinion is that before, if I were to talk about the crazy Event Horizon thing that changed me fundamentally, that it would have had no effect on people whatsoever. Everybody would have walked around thinking I'm just crazy, and they wouldn't have looked it up themselves. They wouldn't have checked it. They would have just discredited me right from the start. So it doesn't matter, right? Who cares? Who cares? I can say whatever I want because everybody's going to default to thinking that their group is correct and not the random person on the internet. Well, recently things have been changing to where they're trying to censor people, obviously, on this app for a while. That's been the whole fucking thing. But the thing is that tells me something very, very, very fundamentally important, is that we are now starting to believe each other. So that is the positive thing that I am taking away from that, is that we are learning from each other, and we're taking away lessons, and we are fundamentally just changing who we are and how we think, and we are becoming more positive altogether, based on the fact that we believe each other over the powers that have control over us. We do not trust them, we do not believe them, and we fundamentally are not going to listen to them, and they're trying to silence us because of that. And that makes me fucking excited and happy, because that means that we're closer to unity consciousness than we ever have been. We are closer to just being part of a tangible group that can work with each other fundamentally, supporting each other, than we have ever been in any time in the history of this country. And I know that things are turbulent and falling apart, but oh my God, that is so huge. And I am so fucking proud of all of us for being able and willing and capable to stand up to corruption and try to change it. And that is fantastic. I love you guys. Bye.